Okay.
If I find my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? If I find my way home, yeah. If I find my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? If I find my way home, yeah.
This is the moment for those who.
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
To see what's behind these closed doors, but I promise you, baby, I'll always be
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Look who I got here.
Again.
Again, right? Second time this week, right? We're here in Laurel, Maryland at the amazing Hobby Works.
Hobby Works.
Yeah, here. And we're going to be doing scale model photography today. So I hope you guys are strapped in, take notes, the whole 9 yards. This will be up, on the usual places later, but it's good to take notes now while you can, right?
Right.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
We're talking about photography. Scale model photography.
Really?
Did I forget something?
A lot. This guy. Anyway, we're going to be covering different types of cameras, different lighting setups, backgrounds, all that cool stuff. So, hope you guys are ready for it. So, without any further ado, you get the mic.
Oh, man.
Put it in your pocket.
In my pocket?
Carry it around. Yeah.
Oh, this.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
All right, guys. What's up? Excuse my nervousness. All right, so model kit photography. We're going to start with cameras. So the easiest thing to talk about is where you're going to start, what you're taking pictures with. I use this. It's a DSLR camera. It is not a super nice DSLR camera, but for taking pictures of toys, it gets the job done. Tim's got some other ones over here. A lot of people use their phones. If you have like a point and shoot, nothing wrong with using any of that. You can take pictures with anything as long as you know what you're doing. You can get good results generally out of just about anything you're going to use. So like I said, I use this mostly, and then I'll kind of edit on the back end. Sometimes I edit on my phone. I just got the Note 9, so it's got a fantastic camera in it. Now, not every people have kind of biases on like, oh, iPhone camera's better. This phone, it's mostly a software thing. Especially now, if you have like a phone that's newer than like 3 to 4 years old, it's mostly software. There's third-party camera apps you can download that give you more access to more features of every camera. One of the ones I like to use is called Open Camera. If you have an Android phone, it opens a lot of things. It lets you try. It'll show you like you can tilt or set it to show what your tilt is, like how many degrees you're turned and stuff like that. Tim might be able to give you some suggestions on iPhone apps that you can use. Find something that you like. That's really the key thing. But if you're going to venture into like a more professional camera, or you're going to venture into something that lets you access actual camera settings, you need to understand how those settings work. So there's 3 main settings to any camera. That is your ISO, your shutter speed, and your aperture size, or your f-stop. The Trinity. Yes. The key to taking a good picture is to balance these 3. They each affect different things, but ultimately they will kind of affect the lightness and darkness of your pictures. Now, I'm going to talk about them in a certain order, and it's kind of up to you based on what you're doing to determine the best order that you want to balance these settings. So my first thing I'm going to talk about is the ISO. The ISO is the sensor inside the camera's sensitivity to light. The lower this setting is, typically the darker the image is going to be, because it's not very sensitive versus being very sensitive. The trade-off here is you're thinking, oh well, I'll just set it halfway. The higher the ISO is, the more noise your picture is going to have. So if you have a really low ISO, you're going to have a very clear image. If you have a very high ISO, it's going to create a lot of artificial light. It's going to look really bad. Think like old flip phones, how that you'd put the pictures on the computer on Facebook or something like that. They look awful. That's because the auto ISO is like, we're going to set it to 14,000. From there, you've got your shutter speed. This is how fast the aperture on the camera closes and opens back up. This is going to affect motion blur. So we're taking pictures of toys. You can set this as slow as you want. As long as you've got time to let it sit there. If you've got a tripod, this is perfect. If you don't have a tripod, you might need to make some compromises, but typically you want to go low ISO. The shutter speed doesn't matter a ton. What you want to worry about is your f-stop, and that's your depth of field. So you're taking a picture of a model kit this way. If you turn this way, The lower your aperture setting is, the thinner your focus is going to be. If you step that up, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. More things are going to be in picture. So if we're taking a picture of this guy right here, where it's nice and big, it's on a stand, it's got a lot of elements to it, you're going to want a higher f-stop than if you were taking pictures of something like that, or like a miniature, because there's not as much to take pictures of. And again, the key to taking a good picture is to balance these three settings. So in my opinion, for what we're doing, we don't have to worry about moving parts. It's not an issue. And we don't have, you always want your ISO to be as low as it can, because you want the clearest picture possible. So your baseline is going to be 100 ISO if that's the lowest you can go. And then you worry about your shutter speed next. After that, you set your f-stop to where you want it. You want to try and find something that, if you want something more stylistic, you want a thinner shutter speed. Sometimes maybe you just want like the head, and then you've got like the gun out, and you want the gun to be blurred out. You'll set it lower. And then from there, you'll adjust that shutter speed until you get a nice medium, where the light looks good, and you're good to go. Hold on, I took some notes. So now that we know roughly what our settings are, what we're looking for as far as settings are concerned, where are you going to take pictures at is the next big one. So I brought a couple different types of photo setups. The first one here, this is it's like a modular little photo studio. This cost me $20 at USA Gundam Store. It comes with, it's like a thin plastic. It comes with 2 backdrops. And then inside there's a little LED strip. This will give you a nice flat light. It's nice and even all the way through. Obviously the problem here is that this is small. I can't put that inside of this. Now any of your guys' HG kits, I might be able to squeeze an MG in there, but limited real estate here. But what you're paying for, this is super nice. It's great. But what I'm going to recommend is something you're going to see the most commonly with a lot of people. When people first get into taking pictures of their models and putting them online, they'll either just take a picture at their desk, or they'll get one of these guys. And I'm going to giant photo tent. I bought the big one. So you can put anything in here, just about. I could put myself in here if I really wanted to. So the advantage to this is this is going to filter all your light. When you put your lights on at your desk, you're not going to just blast it with light, because it's going to look terrible. This is relatively bright. It's going to wash out a lot of colors. It's going to change the way things look. This is a filter for this light. If standard desk lights don't come with that. So if you shoot through this, the light will pass through this. It'll filter down a little bit, and it'll look less harsh. That's a nice thing to have. This also comes with a bunch of colored backdrops. So if you want to shoot on a black versus a white, or red, green, I think it's got a blue in there as well. You have options for what you're photographing on. And you can, again, filter even on top of that. My old photo setup was 2 desk lamps with swivel heads, and I would take tracing paper and just tape it around the light. If you're not using like old halogen bulbs where they get real hot, it works. I use LED bulbs for daylight settings, and nothing ever happened. So you want to be careful if you're not using those. These are LED lights. I got these on Amazon. Both of these lights, stands and the cases for them, it was like $120. Definitely worth it. Tim showed these to me. I bought them last Friday. They showed up Saturday. So definitely, these have been a really good investment. And then I bought a set of, these are called gels. You put these over the light, and it changes the color. So if you want to do something with a little bit more of an effect, you have the option. So from here, your next step would be a more open setup like this. If you are feeling a little bit more confident, if you want more of a seamless backdrop like we have set up here for you guys today, if you need more space than this, if you want to jump into outdoor photography, all it takes is a piece of paper. You don't have to go out and buy a backdrop. You don't have to go out and buy anything special. I bought these little fleece, hang it up to the top, swoop it down. That's it. This was like $6. Joel is a hater, and I can't teach people how to do things if I don't show them all the ways. There's a place for it. So stop. So yeah, these are just a couple setups. There's a million ways you can take pictures. You've got a ton of ways that you can do it, even ways that I probably haven't even thought of. From here, we're going to talk about actual lighting. So the first photo tint I showed you, like I said, you can plug this guy in, and it lights flat, evenly across the board. If you're doing like product style photography or regular shoots for this thing, this is a really nice buy. You don't have to worry about, oh, I can see a bunch of shadows on the background. This is going to be nice and flat. It's going to look good. But again, limited real estate is a big problem. Now, even before I knew what I was doing, I preferred something like this because I have total control over what I'm doing. So let's see. Let's talk about ways you can light your pictures. I'm pretty sure everybody who posts on the internet has seen the standard 2-light setup.
Can you explain the 2-light setup just real quick for those that haven't seen it?
Well, I'm setting it up real quick, and then I'm going to talk about it. So the 2-light setup is pretty standard. It makes the most sense. It's the easiest to do. There's nothing wrong with it. 2 lights. You turn them on. You light your backdrop. The idea is you are lighting both sides of your subject the same. It minimizes the amount of shadow. You're going to see a little bit here on these sides, but if you're not like blasting light on as hard as you can, it's not going to be super evident. You can get rid of it in post. The reason that this is what you see the most is because it's what works. And then you can incorporate more lights. You can move your lights around. If you pull one light over here, drop it down a little bit, and brighten that up just a little, you get rid of all those shadows on your backdrop. You want to point one light towards your backdrop, one light towards your subject, and if you've got like the lights on in here, that'll kind of help fill in everything else. If you have another light back here, like I could turn this guy on. I don't know how to turn it on, but this is back here. All your shadows are filled in. You don't have to worry about, oh, well, half the face of the model kit's gone. 2-3 lights is all you need. You can get by with less than 2. If you know what you're doing, you can get by with 1 light. And the way to do that is you'll turn your light more towards like the front of your kit, and you'll hang like a white piece of paper. The light's going to bounce off of that and onto the other side of your kit. Same thing. I talked about, if you saw my Instagram post yesterday, splitting light. The way you do that is you're going to turn one light on. You're going to turn all the lights you can off. And you're just going to basically have hard light on one side of what you're shooting. And between the overall darkness of the room and the one light, there's going to be a strong contrast. And this works really good for our models because they have a lot of hard edges. Light's going to catch some of those, and it's going to look really cool. You're going to shoot an entire photo shoot like that? Probably not, but, it works. Let's see. The last thing we're going to talk about as far as, getting set up is how you compose your shots. This kind of depends on you as a person. Tim does a lot of heavy modifications. He makes his things look like they translate into a more real-world setting. other people might not be as into that. So some of these things might not apply. The angle that you take your pictures at is incredibly important. If you take a picture of a model kit straight on, it's going to look like what it is. If you take a picture of a model from up here, it's going to look tiny. If you get underneath of it, it's going to look massive. It's going to look huge. Little things like that can really, really, really change the whole dynamic of what you're doing. So depending on what you're trying to do with your photography, depending on what you're trying to convey to the people that are going to be looking at it, little things like that will matter. It can kind of make or break what you're doing. Other little things is you can add little dynamic tilts to the left or the right. It'll bring things in and out of frame, and that's kind of a whole topic on its own. But yeah, I mean that's most of what I have to say. That's about it. Short and sweet.
All right, rock and roll.
So that's kind of the fundamentals here.
All right, give me that mic. You hot?
Yes, it's very hot in here.
Sweating your ass off. Here, give me. It's not hot.
It's very hot.
Is anybody else hot? I'm not hot.
I'm always hot.
This dude, man. All right. Rock and roll. All right, let's get into it, shall we? All right. So, so like Justin said, there's DSLRs. There's a few different types of DSLRs that you want to keep in mind. There's, where's yours? It's over there. That's called an APS-C sensor. It's a crop frame. It crops the actual image down by, or no, it crops it down by 1.6, right? I think it's a crop sensor. Yeah. But then there's what's called a full frame sensor, which is what I have here. They're generally more expensive simply because the technology is more expensive. But now there's also types of cameras like Micro Four Thirds. There's mirrorless. Mirrorless can come in a crop sensor or full frame. Basically, they are smaller packages than this big guy right here. Right? This is a Canon 5D Mark II. This is pretty old. I want to say this is probably 10 plus years old. What's up? Yeah. Oh, it takes great pictures. Yeah. I wish I had a newer one, but you know, you got to work with what you got, right? The different sensor sizes will yield different types of pictures. A full frame sensor will yield a much, I guess, fuller picture. Yeah. The colors will be deeper. The scene will be more vibrant. But the crop sensor is just a little bit off of that. It's not that much. So it's a really good camera choice still. And that's what we're using right here to film. And that's what he was using as demonstration. Besides the DSLR, you've got little point and shoots, which I have right here now. These can be either really, really bad or really, really good. Do your research. If you're just going to buy a point and shoot or you have a point and shoot, you can still get great images out of these things. I have taken wonderful pictures with this little guy, and I think this was like $400 on Amazon. It wasn't that much comparatively to, say, you know, Big Boy here or even another DSLR. This right here, this is a Rebel T7i. It's basically the current generation of the Rebel. I think that's the body itself retails for like $550. But then you got to buy lenses on top of that to add on to it. You can get a little 50 millimeter lens for about $100, but that's now a $650 package where that little point and shoot is $300-400, and you get some really good pictures out of it too. So, you know, keep the prices in mind. But then on top of that, here, hand me my phone real quick. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket nowadays, right? And quite frankly, it doesn't matter what type of phone you have. You can have an old iPhone 5, still takes great images. I actually use an iPhone SE, which is basically like a souped up 5 for production shooting for my job. It takes such great video and great pictures. I still use that. This is a XR, a little bit of a newer model. and that takes about the same, a little bit better pictures. Not much deviation. So you got an Android, you got an iPhone, you got a whatever, man, you already have a camera in your pocket and you're ready to shoot, right? So based on that, we talked about the holy trinity of the settings, your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. You have to balance those three out. That's the balancing game. And like Justin said, there's no magic equation to tell you what you should put in your own camera, because it's going to depend on different things, like your lighting, like your subject, like what your camera type is, right? All of these different factors are going to factor into balancing your settings, right? So, like Justin said, start with, what did you start with?
I start with the ISO.
You start with
I
ISO?
keep my ISO as low as I can.
Okay.
From there, I will set just kind of like I usually sit around 1/100 shutter speed because I can still handhold. I prefer to handhold if I can.
Yeah.
And then I'll adjust my f-stop from there. If I can't get the image to what I would consider viewable, I always go off the back of the camera. If the picture on the back of the camera doesn't look at least somewhat clear, then I'll mess with my settings. I read the histogram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
then you're getting advanced.
But typically, I'll just kind of go eyeball it.
Yeah,
If it doesn't look good on the back of the camera, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah. So, and that's a perfect example of how each person sets up their camera in different ways. Where Justin starts with ISO at 100, me personally, I probably would bump that up to like 640, maybe even 800. You're still within perfectly clear shot range. I'll bump mine all the way up to 3200 sometimes if I'm desperate. And you can still get really good footage and still get good images out of that.
Well, at work, our baseline is we start at 200 ISO for our sets. Outside, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Well, outside is a completely different story. You've got a massive light source, but inside, you're limited to the light sources that you're already supplying. So I usually start at, like I said, 640, 800, maybe 1600 sometimes. You're still going to get crystal clear images based on if you're using current technology. If you're using like an old school Rebel like T3, like that's been around since like forever, those sensors are going to be aged a little bit, and you're going to get a little bit less clarity in that. What kind of Rebel do you have right there?
This is old, man. This is Rebel TI.
TI. Oh, so you got the T. Let me see.
T1i.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's old school then. But you know what? You can still get good pictures out of that. You can still squeeze pictures out of that. If you bump your ISO down to, like I said, probably about.
Right here is super dark. So like,
okay.
If I had lights on it, sure.
Yeah. Well, again, it's all a balancing act
why
too.
I start with that low.
Yeah.
Once you get the other two set, you can bump that up a little bit. Good.
Yeah. It's all, like I said, it's all a balancing act between the three settings. That's why they call it the Holy Trinity in photography. So balancing that is probably going to be your hardest hurdle to jump at this point in terms of photography. But once you get past that, once you find that kind of magic zone and you're dialed in, then you're ready to roll, right? So the three different cameras, they all have the same settings. Every single one of them, even down to the phones. You will get the Holy Trinity in all three, right? Now, there are different modes on modern cameras. On the DSLR, they are dials on here. On the point and shoot, I believe it's a dial as well on top. Yeah, a little dial right here on top. And that's going to differ, obviously, from camera to camera. But the different modes will assist you in different ways. You can go full auto and let the camera decide. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's not so good, right? Because sometimes you'll get a completely washed out image, or it's super yellow or super blue, and it's okay. Test it out. But if it doesn't look good, don't rely on it. There are a couple other modes to keep in mind. There is full manual, where you have full control over everything. That's kind of when you're getting serious about photography. There's one AV, that's aperture priority, where you set the aperture or the f-stop, and then the camera takes care of the rest. Takes care of the shutter speed, takes care of the ISO. There's also what TV? That's shutter speed, right?
Yeah, I think that.
I never use that mode anyways. Don't worry about that mode. Don't use the TV mode. It's bad. So you have different modes to assist you. The point and shoots and modern cameras actually have walkthrough modes now. So when you get something like this, you can actually put it through kind of like an assisted mode, and it'll tell you, hey, this is what this mode features to assist you, right? And if you're more advanced, you can obviously turn that off, but that's a cool feature to have in modern cameras nowadays. After that, we talked about lights, yeah? The lighting setups, and there's a bunch of different lighting setups that you can do. You can get high test, lights like this, or, even little guys like this, or you can cheap out. You can use a lamp and get some wax paper and kind of wrap it around there, right? Or you can get like one of those articulated desk lamps, right? And put like a coffee filter over that with a rubber band or something like that. It basically accomplishes the same thing.
Until last week was that.
Yeah. It accomplishes the same exact thing, right? To diffuse the light. Softer diffused light will always look better. Trust me. Hard shadows on something always looks terrible. Like if you're outside taking a picture and it's bright and sunny out, and you take a picture and you're like, oh man, that looks like crap. It didn't look like that when I was looking at it. Well, that's why, because the camera captures those hard shadows unlike your eyes do, right? So to diffuse that, say if you were outside and it was cloudy, that picture would look amazing, even though it's cloudy, right? Because that light is diffused. That's important. That's another key to the whole photography thing, right? What else? You want to talk? Let's talk about rigs, right? Gear and all that, yeah. So Justin handholds, right? As much as you can.
As much as I can.
As much as you
I'll
can.
use a tripod if I need to. But
yeah, let's pull out your tripod and let's take a look at it real quick. So when you're talking photography and all that, a tripod is always a suggested piece of gear. Now you can get expensive or you can get super cheap, right?
Either one of these are expensive. This is super cheap.
Yeah.
This was like $10 at Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Super cheap. But it came with a little phone mount, so.
Yeah. And it serves its purpose, right? Yeah. It stabilizes your camera. That's the purpose of a tripod. So you got your $10 deal here from Walmart. You got your
$30, $40 from Walmart.
$40 deal from Walmart. And then I got mine that's, for professional purposes that I take around to camera shoots and everything like that. So it's all about your budget, right?
His could probably take a beating.
Yeah, it can travel. Carbon fiber, super light, extendable, the whole 9 yards.
Stability or anything like that?
I mean, they both do the same thing.
That could probably hold a little more weight too.
Yeah, the loadout, you can load this up pretty heavy, probably 16 pounds. Something like this, you're talking about maybe 3-4 pounds.
It struggles with this guy. Like once you extend this,
yeah,
you struggle.
Yeah. And and it's just the different build quality too. I mean, you're looking at 1/2-inch round extruded aluminum, where you're looking at inch round carbon fiber tube that you can use to beat somebody to death with. You know what I mean? It's just but versus your $10, that's like $300. But again, for professional purposes. And you can get all sorts of different what are called tripod heads, right? With this one, did that come with the head? That's the head they attach, right? Okay, so these two, the tripod heads, which are which is actually what moves and holds the camera, those come attached. With the more expensive ones, you can get, different types of tripod heads, right? What I have on here right now is more of a video feature tripod where it pans and tilts, right? You can get some that are ball joints where you can have like full on, different motion. Something like this is a ball joint, right? You loosen it up and then it's got full range of motion, right? That's a ball joint or a ball head for a tripod. This little guy right here is awesome for a camera or for your cell phone and everything. This is solid aluminum and little Amazon deal. It just holds up to my XR big ass tablet phone basically, but down to a teeny tiny phone like an iPhone SE, which I have put in here as well. Really, really nice. This will mount to a different tripod. This is technically a tripod head. And you can mount it right there and get, stabilize your iPhone or your camera phone or whatever, and you can get a great picture out of this. So this was like $20 on Amazon. Really, really inexpensive, wonderful build quality. I actually bought 2 of these because I loved them so much. And especially this mount here. This is a great solid aluminum mount, and it also has a threaded bottom here, so you can actually take this mount off and you can screw it right into your tripod. So very, very good little guy there. And then you can get a little miniature tabletop tripod, right? This is by a company called Neewer, very big on Amazon. They make really, really good stuff. That's what the lights are. Yeah. And this little tripod, solid aluminum, and the legs extend all the way. I think that's it. So you can go from there to that height, right? Really good. Really cool little guy. And again, it's for a tabletop, so it's perfect for shooting models and stuff. If you don't have, if you don't want one of these big things, you can get this little guy. The neck on this extends and contracts, so it actually, you can pull it down more, and then it folds up, and minus the light, that's your form factor, right? Pretty decent. You can store that almost anywhere. You can throw this in a backpack and just head out. So that's really good too. So different types of rigs that you can apply to a tripod. When we start talking about macro, I've got macro tubes. They also make macro lenses. We'll talk about those here in a minute. They have mounts that you can mount your camera on, so you can really finely adjust them, like 1/4 millimeters and stuff like that, like really fine adjustments, because when you get into macro, that depth of field, that focal plane is razor thin, but you get some amazing shots though. So that's a cool thing about that. What else? What other gear should we cover? Any ideas? No?
That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you for your assistance. Okay, so lights. So you can get these high test lights. You can go super cheap on lights, right? You can do something like this little guy. This again is a little Neewer light. This is awesome. This is you can put AA batteries in this, but then it takes one of these batteries. I forget the model number. I'm sure someone in the chat will probably put it out there. But so this is an adjustable light, and I won't blind anybody with it. But it goes from that bright, right, to that bright, right? Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little light. And for those of you guys that watch the stream, this is the light that lights up my background. So yeah, I love this thing. You can use it on batteries. You can plug it into the wall outlet, the whole 9. Great little piece of gear. These guys right here, I mean, look at the form factor. These are super tiny when it comes to LED panels. Both of these, what, 129?
Like 129, like I said, both.
Yeah.
2 lights, 2 stands, 2
with
cases,
with the stand, yeah.
boards.
Yeah.
There's a deal on that.
Yeah.
Different light, but same purpose.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you don't have to get these. You can get whatever you want. But those little LED adjustable lights are wonderful for lighting up your subject, right? And then you can get super cheap and you can just get a little flashlight, right? And you can just be like, boom.
I've done it.
Yeah. Just a little, just maybe just like a little spotlight or something like that. If you want to highlight, a feature on the model, you can just, yeah, right. Well, this is a mag light. This ain't going to break on me. Yeah, if you just want to highlight, just a singular point on your model, just pop that little guy right on there. Just hold it and snap a picture, right? The cool thing about this light, it also comes with party mode. Yeah, sorry. But anyway, yeah, right. Hey, man, we had some fun with that back in the day. So lights are going to be super important when taking a really good photo. You can go inexpensive. There's nothing wrong with that. You can still get great results out of it. You can go somewhat expensive, or you can go like full-blown super expensive, but your budget's going to dictate that. Let's see. Let's talk about macro, shall we? When you're talking about macro, you're talking about getting extremely close to your model. These are macro tubes. These are great, actually. $20 on Amazon. These are full autofocus, so they have the sensor relay in here and everything. These are wonderful, and I love these. They are a bit temperamental on newer cameras, especially this guy right here, the T7i. He doesn't like these very much. I'll get a shot out of it, and then it'll say error. Then I have to take it off, put it back on, get another shot, error, everything like that. So, but on the older cameras, these two are simpatico. I've never had an issue with the older camera and these macro lenses. So, macro. They have macro lenses. These are macro tubes. These are a lot less expensive. You can use your current lens that you have with these. These are wonderful, and I love these. But macro lenses, obviously, a much more expensive, type of lens. But what they do is the focal distance between the front of the lens and the subject is very compressed, so you can get a lot closer and a lot farther up on your subject. So that's the beauty of a macro lens, and like I said, the depth of field is razor thin, like I said before. But the cool thing about these is you can stack them like this. You can use them individually. You can use two. You can interchange them, the whole nine. And they go right between. They mount on your camera. Your lens goes on front, and boom, you've got a macro lens right there for very inexpensive costs. So those are wonderful. On some camera phones, you can do that. Does yours do that? You can get clip-on macro lenses for phones now on like Amazon and stuff like that. They're not super, well, some of them are super expensive, but most of them are not. Most of them I think you can get for maybe $20-$30, and you get like a pack of 3 usually. Like a macro, a wide angle, yeah. Then a fish, yeah, exactly. So now there are some that are pretty expensive. And those they might give you better quality. I don't know. I've never tried them before, but those are options, right? What else? On the point and shoots, you can't really go like true macro. It's more like zoom. But this guy, especially this little Sony, has an insane amount of zoom on it, and it's what's called a practical zoom, not digital zoom. Digital zoom, you don't want that, because that is just blowing up your image. It's increasing the size of the image, and that's not good. But practical zoom, that's where the glass extends from the camera, thus enabling higher magnification of whatever subject that you're shooting. So that's a good thing too. Let's talk about angles. Yeah. Justin touched on angles just a little bit, and also posing. What happened? What did you do? He touched on angles.
That's what she said.
Yeah. We got these New York guys in here today, y'all, and they're rowdy. So I don't know. We got Manny and the two Julios with us today. So driving down from New York. Thank you for being here, guys, again. But the different angle shots for your model will dictate the composition of your photo. The composition, obviously, is what the overall photo looks like. We've talked about settings. We've talked about gear. Now it's time to get nitty-gritty and actually take pictures and see what these things look like in camera, right? What do you want to start with first? The Destiny? All right. Yeah. Hook it up. Put it on there. All right. So we're gonna start with a DSLR. This is a 50 millimeter lens. 50 millimeters is the closest focal range on full frame that you're going to get to the human eye. We see, I think we see it about 48 millimeters is what our human eye is adapted to. This is 50 millimeters, so this is very, very close, right? So now he's set up. So let's make this a bit interesting. We're going to touch on posing here a little bit. We're going to touch on posing. Come on, man. Keep up, dude. You're killing me. Right?
Be consistent.
Yeah, come on now. You come down here from New York, and, we expect a certain amount of, geez. I mean, we expect a certain level of participation in this. Anyway. All right, so we just made that a little bit more interesting, right? We just raised the hand up a little bit, and let's see. We're going to move the head around here, make him look this way, and there. That now looks a little more interesting than what it was before, just standing straight like this, right? It's not super dynamic. There's nothing wrong with this pose. I say get good shots like this to show off the quality of your build. That's what people want to see. They want to see the quality. They want to see what you did to the model, your craftsmanship, right? Once you get these shots, then you can go super like all that, right? Then you can get crazy with the poses and all that. But these are the shots that are going to make it look really, really good. All right, cool. So let's get back on there. All right. So I'm just going to shoot through the back here. And right there. So the minimal focus distance on this 50 is right there. You see how far away I am? That's about 1.5 feet away from the subject right now. So that's the minimal focus distance. That's the closest you can get with this setup right now. The absolute closest. And since this is a fixed focal length lens, that means you can't zoom in. You can only pull back and go forward. So okay.
Is that the shutter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice and slow.
Yeah. 1/80th. Yeah. 1/80th of a second. So just real quick for those of you at home, that's what we got. Not the greatest of pictures, but we're going to improve it. We're going to make it better. We have the technology. So let's show this to everybody. So not a great picture by any stretch of the imagination. You can see where the limitation is with the distance of the focal length, right?
It's very small.
Yeah, it is very, very small. And that's a bad picture in my estimation. That is not good. I would never use this particular picture. Now, if I had the ability to put the zoom lens on, I'd probably get a little bit better quality. But the difference is going to come when we strap on the macro lenses. Then that minimizes the minimum focal length, which means I can get a lot closer to the model, which means I can get a lot tighter shots. And that's kind of where the money shots are, if you will. Right, Julio? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not picking on him. I'm just trying to get some assistance out of him. That's all. What's up?
High quality feed pics.
Yeah, right.
He's your guy.
All right, so we're gonna put the 21 millimeter extension on here, which effectively makes this now 71 or so, but macro, which means it's going to allow us to get a lot closer. So here was our minimum focal length, right? This won't even focus at this length. Okay, let's see. With these macros, you got to play with the focus a little bit. Okay, so right there, that is like 3 times closer right there, right? And we're going to, let's see, we're going to play around with the settings so we can get a much deeper depth of field here. Pretty deep. Pretty deep. We're going to get deep on it. Y'all better watch. Why did I invite you? Anyway. So hand holding a macro shot is not what I would recommend, but for right now, we're going to do it just to get the shot. Oh yeah. See, that's so much better, you guys. For those of you at home, that's what you can get with a macro. Yeah, look at that. Come on. An amazing photographer once said, if your photos are not interesting, get closer.
Okay.
How much better is this than the previous one?
What's your?
Just
You have it on auto or?
no, I've got this on AV, aperture priority.
That's really good.
You see what I'm saying? Just getting closer. I didn't do anything different to the lighting. I didn't do anything to the posing. I just got closer. That's it. Just closer. So that shows you the power of a macro lens or a macro tube set where you can get super into the details, right? And this is the 21. You've got this big old hog 31, and then you can stack the 3 of them together. You can basically get inside your model at that point, right? It's nuts. Yeah. You can get deep inside your model with these macro lenses, that's for sure. Jesus Christ, what did I do? Why do I deserve this? I don't know either. Yeah, guys, you can see how macro makes it just insane. And you can get in on super, super crispy details like the shield here with the decals and everything.
Get plugged and go deep.
Is it too late to kick them out?
Plug weekend. Gotta go deep.
Jeez. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Team awful.
Go hold my cat.
Yo, Adam told me that yesterday in a DM. He's just like, hold my cat. Is that a thing on you guys? I don't even know.
He said it. I lost it. That was the thing.
Jesus. Anyway, all right. So, you guys, that's the type of detail shots that you can get. You can even get closer than that, right? But these are amazing, amazing little tools that you can get you can zoom in to that. You can digitally crop that in and get just, you can see the molecules that these things are made of, right? Right? Yeah. Right? Right? You can get super crispy on these details. Super, super crispy. What's that? Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're gonna look painted on. Yeah, they're gonna look painted on. So, guys, macro tubes with the DSLRs. I swear to God, you guys, you're killing me right now. But if you don't have one of these, then you can't use macro tubes, right? So then you're SOL. Wrong. That comes in with the point and shoot, right? Let's see what kind of results we can get with this little guy. Now, comparatively, hefty, wimpy, right? No, guys, no, it's not wimpy. This little sucker is awesome, and I'm gonna show you here just real quick what we can do with this guy. It is fierce. Shut up. Jesus. So, all right. Now, what you got the telephoto lens, right? What's the focal range on this? 28 to 80. Okay, so that's not too bad. What's your focal length? Oh, that's 18 to 55. You got a telephoto though, don't you, with you? No? Okay, so the millimeter, the focal length on lenses, that was a 50. That looks at, like the human eye. Big telephoto lenses that are affordable go up to about 300, right? And that's a pretty good amount of zoom. This little guy, optical zoom, which is practical, goes up to 720. Yeah, practical optical zoom. Then you're SOL, because then it digitally zooms in. You don't want that, because that just makes the image look like total crap. But let's see what we can do here with this. So I'm way too zoomed in. All right. So we got a little sucker. That's not bad. So for those of you guys at home, shit, I'm tripping over everything here. Right there. Can we see it? Is it focusing? Yeah. So that's the type of shot that you can get with this little point and shoot, right? And that's not even a great shot. That's pretty decent for this little thing. Yeah? That's a pretty decent shot. I can make some improvements. And I can get some really, really, really tight detail. But that's not bad for the first shot on this thing, right? Yeah, pretty good. So let's try some more here with this little guy. And let's see. What's up? Oh.
After you're done, I want to keep this here.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just basically trying to compose this image. That's not focused. All right, so Jesus. So that's not bad either. So there we go. All right. So again, another little shot on a little point and shoot. It's not bad, right? Is it? How's that? Is that better? Is it focused up? So that's not too bad. That's pretty good. I would use this shot. Right? I would totally use that shot. That's decent, right?
Tasty.
Yeah. And you can zoom in on this and get all sorts of crispy little details, right? Just this little itty bitty camera, right? This stupid little thing, you know? Goes to show you. Hefty, wimpy. It's not so wimpy. It's not so wimpy. So, and then you fold it down, fits in your pocket with your phone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you're outside, you're taking like super zoomed in and everything. These are great little tools. Now, that's a Sony. That's a Sony. But do your research. Look at reviews. Look at shots that came from the camera, right? Look on Amazon. Amazon is great for reviews. Read those. Look at the images that people post. B&H Photo. You guys know B&H up there in New York. That is like the best place on earth. I've never been there, but I hope to. This fucking guy. Get out of here. No. It's all right. Yeah. What's up?
They mark up a little.
Oh, of course they mark up a little bit, but yeah, dude, it's a massive place they got there, you know. But everyone in there is an expert in their own field. So you go in there and you ask somebody, or you even call them on the phone, and you ask somebody, they're going to help you out, and they're going to tell you, okay, well, maybe this, right? You go on B&H and you look at photos and stuff that people have posted. Look on YouTube for reviews on all this stuff. Man, do your research before you invest in gear. Trust me. So then comes to your camera phone, right? Now you're gonna be like, oh well, camera phone, it's gonna be all right. It's not gonna be great, right? Well, hold up. Hold your opinions until we get there, right? Boom. Right? All right, let's show everybody at home real quick. Yeah? That's what you can get with lighting, and that's just a camera phone. I would totally use this shot. You know what I mean? I would totally use that shot. The lighting, in this case, makes all the difference in the world, right?
Oh, that was great.
That's just with a camera phone, you guys. Just a camera phone, right? All right, now who in here thinks they've got the oldest phone? Let's try it. Let's try an experiment. Who has the oldest phone? Do you? Anybody? Who's got the oldest phone? No?
I got a Metro PCS phone.
Okay.
It's not old. It's from China.
Okay. What do you got? You got a new something, right? All right. Who wants me to try take a picture with theirs? All right.
Don't worry, there's no nudes.
Okay. Don't let me discover something on here, Manny. Oh my God. Right? That would be bad. So bad.
Scroll left, gotta go deep.
Boom. All right. So the white balance might be off just a little bit, but damn if that's not passable. Right?
Yeah, I see.
You see what I mean?
See the difference.
So the lighting.
It makes the gray look a little warmer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it should be white. So the brightness can be enhanced just a little bit. The white balance can be tweaked a little bit. It's a little yellow right now, right? So $80 PCS, Metro PCS phone? Yeah, you can get great shots out of that. I've seen videos on YouTube where they took like one of those like little 5-year-old kids cameras, like the little Polaroids, and do like full on photo shoot challenges with them, and they still got great photos with those cameras. Doesn't matter what you got in your pocket, doesn't matter what you got in your bag, as long as it's lit well, you're good to go. Yeah. He knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, angles of photography. What kind of shots do you like to get on your models?
It mostly
Shot,
depends on what I'm doing.
shot. Right? Oh, he missed it.
90%
Anyway.
of the time, I'm kind of just, out of the box. I peep what's there, but I do want it to look.
No, I meant
it's a
like
real
photo shots.
What do you mean?
Like angles on
Yeah,
the.
I'm saying I want my thing to look like it's a real thing. So
Okay.
I tend to shoot a little lower.
Okay.
Or straight on. I'll do like some high angle, like 360 shots, just to show off what it looks like as a whole.
I got you.
I'll get in, I'll do my macro shots, and then everything else is straight on or below.
Okay. So everyone is going to have their own like favorite shooting angle, right? Like if you guys have ever seen like my shots before, you know that I like 3/4 turn, 3/4 up, down onto the head and a little bit of shoulders and the top of the chest, zoomed in tight. I just absolutely love that particular shot, and it shows off the model wonderfully, right? So here, I'll just shoot with the phone, and I'll show you what I mean. So what I mean, he's at a 3/4 turn, and then it's 3/4 up, and we'll maybe just get a little lower right there for detail, and boom. Oh, I love that shot. I love this shot. You don't even know. I love this shot. No, dude, it gets so much good detail there. Can they see it? Is it focused?
There you go. Tilt it down a little bit. There you go. Lift one leg up.
Good? Yeah, right. Do the hokey pokey. Yeah. See what I mean? That this is my favorite angle to shoot a model at, just because you can get what did it? Oh, shoot. See what I mean? I love that. I love that angle.
Oh yeah, that's great.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you don't see that particular angle a lot with Gunpla, especially. Now, who else does other types of scale modeling in here? You do what kind of stuff? Model cars. Excellent. Perfect. That is a perfect angle for model cars, right? If you shoot model cars like what pro photographers do, like on real cars, it's going to look insane. So what a lot of real photographers will do with on automotive shoots, they'll have this massive light structure above the car and just shoot straight down onto it. So if you do something like that and you kind of get one of those angles where they shoot, that's going to look insane. Same thing with Gunpla too, though. You've done stuff like that and gotten super moody shots and stuff.
I like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you can get crazy creative with the lighting. You can get crazy creative with the angles and all that stuff. So what Justin was talking about, shooting from kind of a lower angle to make the model look sizable, to give it that to kind of give it an illusion of scale, right? So most of the time your lenses are up here. Turn it upside down, right? Turn it upside down. And then let's push him back a little bit. Boom. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Oof.
giant.
Yeah. I mean, that.
Photoshop a nice hanger in the background.
Yeah, right? So, for those of you at home, that's called forced perspective. You guys ever saw Lord of the Rings? Right? That's how they shot the little hobbits, right? There you go. See? How long did that take? Seconds, right? That's post processing. Right? Right? Like, these are the types of things you can go crazy with when you're shooting your model. The thing is like, you've invested so much time and effort into producing whatever model that you've just built. Why not make it look good on camera, right? Right? Take your time. Yeah.
And I learned this the hard way a couple weeks ago. Is like editing too.
Yeah.
I hate editing. I hate it.
Yeah.
But if you take your time, it'll pay off.
Right?
That's the great thing about taking pictures of models. The model's patient.
Yeah. The models are very patient, and they won't talk back to you either. Yeah. And when you're talking about gear and setups and lighting and backdrops and all that crap, you can get all this gear, but it's still not going to make a lick of difference if you don't know what kind of shots that you want to get, right? So look at other people's photography, look at other people's photos, see the angles that they shot at, people that you really, really, really admire online and the models and stuff like that. Chris Pabalate. Chris Pabs is an amazing photographer. His photos look awesome, right? Chris, if you're watching, shout out. Joel, True Gunpla, another amazing photo setup, right? Justin's no slouch either, right? Justinius builds, ladies and gentlemen. What's up? Yeah, right? The Shinmusha?
I was like, it's not fun to.
The Shinmusha, like fighting the ashtray with the purple background, the purple light. Oh, that was killer, you guys. If you haven't seen it, Justinius builds on Instagram.
We were super slow one day, and I was like, let me take some pictures of that.
Right? So you can get like full-on pro setups, but you don't need it. You don't need this stuff. You can buy a $1 piece of poster board from the grocery store and do the same thing as this.
My setup at home.
Yeah, right?
I took a piece of glass off my desk and put it on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't take a lot.
You can go to Home Depot and get a piece of plexiglass, right? And put it underneath here, but on top of the paper, and it'll reflect. You'll get that subtle reflection from the feet. Yeah, that showroom kind of look. And that would be great with the model cars, though, too. That would look killer. Those are simple things that you can do really inexpensively, right? Now you can even dress something like this up. You can put it on something like a prop or something like that. Go to Home Depot, get a little block of wood or something like that. Set it on top of that thing, right? It balances now the mechanical with the natural, right? You want those contrasts of looks in your photography. If that's not what you're going for, cool. Put something else in there. Put something behind it. Change up the background color. Different background colors will give different looks to these models, right? Like in case airdrop, right? Shot it on a black background, and I lit the background from the bottom and lit the model like you see here. It gives this really ominous kind of shadowy look to it, right? Where something like the Blue Destiny, I shot on either white or gray. I think it was gray. Gives it a more airy kind of brighter, lighter feel to it. So change up your background colors. Change up, use like gels in your lights here. These little guys right here. These are just tinted colors, color of plastic. They're see-through, the whole 9 yards. How much were these?
I got that whole set was like $3.
Whole set for $3, right? Yeah. Here, you do it because it's your lights.
You
What's up? Dude, right? I love Amazon. I love Amazon, man. I don't care what anybody says. Jeff Bezos, take my money. So these gels, for these lights, most of these lights like this, these LED panels, will have a spot for gels. And they just slide in like Justin's showing. Now it's a little bright in here, so the effect is a little more minimized at this point. But you can see how that casts a heavy blue tint.
You can do it like this, or you could set him up.
Yeah. So you basically just colored your background, right? You made a sweet little blue, like a baby blue background on a navy blue mech. And now he's not going to be color cast. He's going to be in natural colors when you shoot it. But that background is going to be that smooth baby blue, right? Let's get a shot of this guy. Let's get a shot of this, because this, I like this. I like the look of this. Moody blues, little baby blues. All right, so I don't.
Turn that one down a little bit.
Which one? What are you trying to do? I just turn it off. Oh no, that's yellow. Okay. All right. So let's see what this look. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey now.
And don't be afraid to throw colors on background too.
Yeah. All right. So that's cool.
Purple on a black background.
Yellow up front, blue in the back, right? So let's show everybody at home real quick.
Yeah, that's so good. It's like comic book status. If you see like comic books, how they have.
Look at that.
Secondary light.
It's got that yellow front, but then the background is that blue cast
That's my way. I would say this on
with that navy blue model, right?
Yeah.
This one's yellow.
Now I'd probably mess around with the contrast and the brightness just a little bit. I'd post process that just a little.
So great.
Right? Yeah. Just a little. And that's what gels can do. You can color the background, you can color the model, you can make all sorts of weird, funky looking shots, right? Wait, you want me to get another one here?
I was just.
What are we doing?
I was showing him.
Oh, okay. I got you. Let me try to get a close up here of this. I don't think so. I mean, if you want to get, if it's all in how you want to display your model. You know what I mean? Boom. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's very subtle, right? The grays are a bit warm because of the yellow cast from the front light, right? I didn't even show. Hang on. The grays are a little warm, right? But that background is nice and baby blue. Is that focused?
Move it a little bit.
In?
And your phone went dark. It did.
Anyway. Oh well. We'll post the pictures later. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so you guys can see the grays are a little warm, right? But the blue in the background sets off that whole look. But that's a tighter shot showing more detail, right? You're just getting crazy creative with stuff like this. You throw a purple one, you throw a green one, you throw a red one in here. Gives completely different looks, right? So those are what. Oh, and you can use, if you really wanted to get crazy, you could use two of these at the same time. So like the red and yellow, you can get this orange cast, right? But then you split them up. See what I mean? So you can double up on those two, use two at the same time, and get really kind of creative with your the colors and everything too. So those are all options at this point. Let's see. What else? What else should we cover? Should we cover anything else? We good? What time is it? 2:32. Ooh.
We could split.
Do your split lighting deal?
We can try it.
Yeah, go for it. Give it a shot. Here, you want the mic? Or you want me to narrate?
You can narrate.
I'll narrate. How about that?
So, you can also color cast if you want to split like that.
Let me get out of the way here.
But the idea here is you're shooting one light source hard onto the subject.
So yeah, so basically what Justin's doing here is coloring.
So if you wanted to do the blue, you can do that. But for this one, we're going to do less filtered. So we're going to take the filter off because we want the shadows to be as hard as possible. Because that's what's going to create that look.
Boom. Don't trip. All right, what do we got here? Ooh, moody. Now, for those of you that missed your art history, the whole contrast between shadow and light is called chiaroscuro. Fun fact. You don't have to remember that. Exactly. I don't know why. I remember that from my art history class in college. I don't know. It's just a fun little thing. It's a fun little fact. So Sean's over there on Facebook. He says, "What am I, diddly squat?" I know, right? Z, we love you, buddy. All right, so let's show them. Let's show the kids at home. Don't forget the kids at home. Let's make sure we got other. Pull it this way. Pull it this way. Pull it this way. All right, now back. Oh, right. Nope, you were good. Put it back. Right there. My way. Right there. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Nice shadowy effect. It's sexy. Right?
Yeah, super sexy. That key is scar should be working on.
See? Julio remembers it. Julio remembers it. See, Julio's going to be on here trying to type in and spell chiaroscuro in the next live stream. He's going to be like K-I-R Scuro. Oh, man.
I'll show you guys the same thing. Just
Eat a churro? I like churros.
I know what that is. You know that kick a churro you talking about.
Is that a Pokemon? So let's try. What? What are you talking? Oh, yeah. Tilt it. It's dark. Okay, right there. Yeah, that's dark. It's moody. That is Batman lighting right there, folks. That is Batman lighting. So I want to try something here.
Okay.
Do the same thing, but I'm gonna shine a little flashlight right on his face and see if that makes any difference whatsoever.
do it from this side.
Okay.
Because the shadow, it's already lit from this side.
I got you. Just like that. Little white light. Is that any different?
Or move it off. Yeah.
Really? Oh, yeah.
So look. Oh, well, that is dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
That's not bad.
This whole side of the face.
That's a subtle. Yeah, that's a subtle effect. And that's right. Stop. Move it in just a bit. All right. Cool. So that's a subtle effect too. Did you show everybody?
I mean, I mean, it's the same picture.
Wow.
You see the face a little bit.
You're a terrible person. So it's just a subtle effect. You know, you just shine a little flashlight on just the face of the model, and it lights up the face, but everything else is kind of like in deep dark shadows. That's all you need. It's just a little flashlight like this, right? It's nothing major. But all sorts of different looks that you can do. And each model obviously is going to look different under different lighting too. So obviously blue on blue, but you put something like Justin's, what is it? What's that? The Origin, yeah. That's kind of white and it's got some red in it and stuff like that. It's going to look completely different under those lights. You throw a red gel on there, it's going to look completely different, right? So all of these have kind of their own unique characteristics when it comes to photography. So play around with the settings, play around with the angles, play around with the lighting, gels, the whole 9 yards. Use different cameras for different effects too, right? Because the look that you're going to get from this thing is not going to be the same look as if you shoot it with this, right? Just the overall feel of the photos. You may have it locked into the same focal length as this, propped at the same position, the whole 9 yards, but just the differences in the sensors will yield different types of pictures. With this one? Yeah.
Like how you you're viewing too? Like you're viewing it on a computer screen?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because of the sensor size. The sensor size will dictate the entire type of picture that you get, right? And it doesn't matter what type of sensor size that you have, because you can work with all of them, right? Because you got to figure there's like a 1-inch sensor. The full frame in here is like a 1-inch sensor. It's massive compared to, say, something like in the phone. I mean, you're talking about maybe a 1/4-inch sensor in here, but the overall depth and warmth that you get out of a full frame, yeah, it's uncomparable. It's subtle, and you really have to know what you're looking for, but it's there, right? All right, so let's see what we can get this guy to look like here. All right, one even in focus. Is he on manual? No, he's on auto. Oh yeah. That's not bad. That's not too bad. What does it look like, Justin? Yeah? Oh, well, they saw it. We'll post pictures.
They can pause it.
Exactly. There's a buffer in there for a reason, right? Yeah. So you get different contrast levels. You get different vignetting around. That's kind of the darkness around the picture. Now, you can post-process that back in if you want more, or you can post-process it out if you don't want it to look, have it at all, right? And that kind of leads us into post-processing. If you are entering a model competition, then post-processing, I would say, is an absolute no-no. If you're entering online or something like that, other than maybe some color correction and some contrast.
Touch your colors,
yeah.
maybe a crop.
Yeah.
That's it.
Everything else, no bueno. No manipulation, no taking out your nub marks, no taking out your seam lines, no taking out cracks or anything like that, right?
Someone's going to see it in person and they're going to call you on it.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt. But, like I said, little color correction, a little contrast, maybe some brightness here and there. There's nothing wrong with that to correct the look of the photo. But if you are just putting it out there for the masses, go crazy. Go crazy. if you guys see Kevin Zhang, Mr. Dash, he goes nuts with his photos, and they look amazing, right? In his book, The Clash of the Titans, and he gets so crazy with the Photoshop. It's nuts, and it's awesome. So you can do that type of stuff if you're just kind of putting it out there, you know, for people to look at and enjoy, right? Now, there's an ethical, you know, an ethical challenge where if you take out your seam lines and stuff like that, does that make you a better modeler? No. Makes you better at Photoshop than other people, and you know all that. But
why would you spend the time in Photoshop
yeah,
to fix your mistakes when you could just spend the time on your model to fix your mistakes?
Because for some people, it's easier in Photoshop than on the model.
One time I saw a guy who photoshopped his panel lines. Like, he didn't panel line the kit.
Yeah, well, I've seen those. Yeah.
Like, it was super evident.
Or people use stickers. Have you seen that? The Chinese stickers that they're panel lines. Oh yeah, they're just lines, and then you stick on the panels of your model, and it boom, panel lines.
So much extra work.
It just is it's so dumb. But anyway, I digress. So there is an ethical question when it comes to post-processing, especially for the masses, right? In my opinion, a little color correction, a little contrast, same deal with, you know, entering an online competition. That's as far as I go, right? I'll maybe add a little vignetting around it just to kind of give the composition a little ambiance, because that does help the viewer focus into the subject of the photo, right? If you've got, you know, kind of a subtly dark rim around the photo, it makes you look at the center of the photo. It's just a graphic design technique. But aside from that, I really wouldn't do too much else, you know, just to maintain an ethical standard at that point. But in terms of post-processing, what do you use, right? On the computer, you can use a ton of different stuff. You know, there's stuff like Photoshop. You can go free and use, what is it called, GIMP. There's that. There is Adobe Lightroom, which is amazing for photo editing. Manny, do you? Awesome. That's what I use as well, and it just makes the process so much quicker and cleaner and more efficient. Photoshop is amazing. I use Photoshop almost every day, but not for photo editing. But you can change things like color, contrast, the vignetting. You can cast color tones. You can make it black and white. You can change pretty much everything in there. You can add clarity, the saturation, all of that stuff, right? So Adobe Lightroom is great on the computer. What's up? You got it on your phone? So do I. Yeah, so do I. But like Manny was saying, there's definitely several different post-processing options on the phones, and it's going to obviously matter between what you have, an Android or an iPhone, because not all apps are available on both platforms, right? Now I use Lightroom as well, right on here, and yeah, I use Lightroom to edit all the photos I use for like my 30-minute out photos and everything. I have a preset in there, and I use that every single day, every single time. So there's that, right? It's got a little vignetting around it. It's got a cool color cast to it, right? It's a little on the blue side, nothing crazy, right? But it draws your eye into the subject, right? That's what vignetting will do. It's got this nice little halo effect, and it's super subtle. And most people will never notice vignetting, especially post-process vignetting. But it's an amazing tactic to use in a photo to put emphasis on what you want the emphasis to be on, right? Yeah, the focal point. So I love Adobe Lightroom on here, but you do have to pay for it. It's like $20 or something like that. 14? Yeah, not of Adobe.
Yes, I use it.
Do you?
Free trial version, but the $14 one you get a lot more.
Yeah. Okay.
Effects you can
Okay. I got you. I got you.
Snapseed.
Snapseed. That's another one, and I think I got that on here too. Let's see. Yeah, Snapseed.
Super simple. It's very clean.
Yep.
It doesn't get easier.
Yeah, that's by Google. Snapseed. And it's a complete photo editing and manipulation app. And let's see here. So it's got different filters that they call looks, right? So you can apply something that's already just in the box, so to speak. Check that out.
Oh wow.
Right? So this one,
It's all deserty looking.
yeah, right? This
If you long press the picture, it'll shift back to what it was.
yeah. Oh, so check it. Original, boom.
It looks like he's outside, like in the desert.
I mean, yeah. So, all right. So for everybody at home, I don't know if this is going to come through or not, but there's the original.
Hold on. Tilt down just a little bit.
No, there's the filter.
You can see the colors. I saw
Yeah.
the picture before,
So, all right. There's the original, right? Filtered out. Crazy. Original,
Oh yeah.
filtered, right? It's just a simple filter. Original, filter. Yeah. Original, filter.
Whoa.
Crazy, right?
Yep.
There's the original. There's the filter. Crazy. It's insane what some of these apps are able to do, and that's just the stock filters that you get, and there's a ton of them in here. So you can start with a filter, or you can go to tools. The tools have everything from tuning image to the details to what are called curves. It's a little bit more of an advanced kind of graphical term. Most of you won't have to worry about that unless you're really super picky. White balance is the cast of yellow versus blue. So say if you're outside and it's kind of nice and green and lush, it's going to be a lot warmer photo than if you were indoors shooting under fluorescent lights and stuff like that. These cast, and you can see the different colors in the lights. These cast blue, where these cast a little bit more on the yellow side of things. And even with the lights here, with these lights, even with the gels out, you can manipulate the color cast, the white balance, to be more yellow, warmer, or more blue, cooler. Let's see, you can also do cropping, rotating, perspective. You can expand the photo, which essentially makes it bigger. I don't necessarily recommend that because you're essentially expanding a finite number of pixels is what a photo is made of. Blowing it up from its original is never recommended because it just becomes blurry and messy and muddy. Exactly. You can do selective editing, HDR, which is high dynamic range. Thank you. I forgot about it. So basically what high dynamic range is it means the range between your darkest dark and your whitest white. If you have a short dynamic range, it's going to look more kind of like posterized. But if you have a high dynamic range, it's going to look a lot smoother. It's going to look like what your eye sees more. Let's see, tonal contrast, glamour glow. The hell is glamour glow?
I use like 4 settings on here.
Yeah.
I tune it. I hit the details.
It has vignetting.
I'll do just a slight curves adjustment.
You can do frames.
Crop it.
Yeah. You can do frames, retro lux, grainy film. Yeah, you can get stupid with the different looks and tools in this particular app.
It smooths out and harsh lines.
What, like the shadows and stuff? Yeah. Okay.
It just beautifies things.
Yeah. So post-processing, guys, you can get crazy with it. You can get absolutely crazy with it. You can get just as creative in post-processing as you can with your setups and everything. So think about that. Your imagination is really your limitation, right? Cool. So, anything else? Are you doing a double? exposure. I saw that on there. I was like, that's pretty cool. We'll post all these pictures online after later tomorrow or something like that for those of you at home. So I think we're good, yeah?
I think so.
Rocking. All right, so for those of you at home, we're going to end here, but for those of you here, let's take some shots, right? And not like shots like that, Julio. Come on now.
You got really excited.
I know, right? He was getting all super excited. He's like, what? Yeah, exactly. All right, so you want to say goodbye?
See ya.
All right, so you guys tune in Monday night for the regular stream. I'll see you then. Be safe out there. Take care. Bye.